In this part of the video, we move on to looking at all 4 preference letters combined into a whole type. Here we start by checking whether the respondent is comfortable with their best fit choice. You can help to clarify any preference where they are still unsure by exploring factors that may be influencing their decision. Then move on to discussing strengths and possible development areas for the whole type. Finally, you can encourage your respondent to consider taking action on their learning and where they can go next with using type.
Okay, so now we've finished all 8 preferences. Let's pull it all together.
Okay.
So I said at the beginning, it's your decision what your best fit type is, and it's up to you to decide whether you can decide on that now or not. As we went through, you were quite sure about some of the letters and not sure about the others. Let's summarise where you're up to.
Okay.
So, page 16.
Yeah. So that was E for extroversion.
You were quite sure about that one.
Yeah.
Page 22.
22. And that's S for sensing.
That's right. Page 28.
This one I wasn't sure about.
Okay, well, you can put whatever you like, a T, an F, a question mark, leave it blank. What do you think?
I'll leave it blank for now.
Fine. Okay.
And the last one is 34. And that's J for judging.
And that one you were quite sure about.
Very sure on that one, yeah.
Okay, so to summarise where your best fit type is at the moment is you think your best fit type is ES something J.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a introduction to type booklet here, and this is yours to take away to read. It's got lots of really useful information in it. This page is really good because it's got short descriptions of each of the 16 possible types.
Okay.
So with ES something J, you could be ESTJ or ESFJ.
Okay.
So if you read those 2 and see if one of them speaks to you more loudly than the other,
all right. Okay.
and fits in with your perception of yourself.
Well, after reading both of them, definitely ESTJ resonates with me more.
Okay, and why is that?
I think it was the bit of organised projects and people to get things done and focus on getting results in the most efficient way possible. That would probably be how I describe myself. So, yeah, definitely ESTJ.
Okay, and is there any pressure on you in your role to adopt a more feeling way of doing things?
Pressure I put on myself, yes. Having been in the role relatively short period of time and being a first-line manager, I do take people's personal circumstances into consideration when making decisions. So that's really important to me. So I have adopted a slightly more feeling approach to decision-making, which is probably why I was a little bit confused earlier.
Right, okay. So are you now saying that you think that you're logically factoring in people rather than empathetically feeling more?
I'm definitely logically factoring them in.
Fine, okay. So if you're happy to plump for ESTJ, you could make a note of that for your best fit type.
Okay, there we go.
And this booklet actually has whole page descriptions of each of the 16 types. I'm going to give you this to take away because if any of the other members of your team have done MBTI and are happy to share their type, then this is quite informative for you as a manager.
Really good.
So ESTJ, have a look at ESTJs at their best.
Okay.
Have a quick read of that.
All right. Okay, that's good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Does that sound like...
It does sound like me.
Fantastic. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about your strengths. How do you see these strengths helping you in your role?
I definitely think it's the organising of projects again, and I really like putting procedures in place to make sure things get done in an efficient way. A systematic approach to things is certainly something how someone would describe me, and I really enjoy interacting and working with others to achieve a common goal.
Right, okay. So there's a little space in your workbook to record any thoughts you might have on that.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, there's another section here about how others see you.
Okay.
Now, one of the things you said when we first came into this session is you're looking at diversity within your team.
That's right.
Now, assuming they're not all ESTJs, they might be perceiving you in a different light from you perceive yourself. So have a look at how others might see ESTJs.
Okay. Okay, that's really interesting.
Okay, say a bit more about that.
Well, I certainly describe myself as being someone who's quite dependable, someone who's quite conscientious, and someone who's quite self-confident. So yeah, no real surprises there.
Okay, so make a note on how others might perceive you. Okay, now for every one of these 16 different types, there's also some blind spots. So everything's a bit of a double-edged sword. So some of your strengths mean that you have some blind spots. There's a section here that says potential areas for growth. So have a look at that section and see if you can pick out some of the things that might help you in your own development.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay, why?
I certainly think I could fall into this category about getting fussy around the level of detail someone's providing me with, and sometimes get impatient with people that don't follow a procedure that I've put in place. So yeah.
So what might the impact of that be in your job if you do become a bit impatient with people because they're not giving you the details? Or?
Well, there's going to be we're not going to achieve the common goal, whether it be something that I've set or something that they need to achieve for their own sales or own customer. So I think the end goal wouldn't be reached.
Okay, so make a little note on anything you might have thought on development needs that this is informed.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so in your workbook, the next page is action planning. Okay, so something that might appeal to you as an ESTJ to get some
definitely
plans down on paper.
Yeah.
So the first question here is, what have you learnt about yourself from this feedback? Now, we've covered a lot of ground. Is there anything that particularly stands out that's had an impact on you?
Well, it's been reinforced about how much I like procedures and plans, which is a good thing in my head, and certainly that self-realisation is going to be beneficial for me. I suppose the bigger learning point for me is that actually not everyone is going to be the same as me.
Right.
So that's a little bit alarming at the same time.
Well, you did say right at the beginning that you were doing the MBTI to look at diversity within your team.
Yeah.
So actually this might be very informative for that particular goal that you had.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so if you'd like to jot that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and here we have an action planning page for you to look at specific actions. As we've gone through, each of the pages have had some of your ideas on how you're using each of the preferences in different ways.
Okay.
Have a bit of a reflection back after this session on that and see which specific actions you might like to put in place. Have you got any idea of any particular actions that you're thinking of?
Well, I definitely want to learn more about my team. So I'll be sharing the fact that I've been through the MBTI feedback session. So I do want to learn more about the team, and more specifically, I want to talk to the team about how they feel about my procedures and processes and plans, and just see what sort of discussion that brings out.
Fantastic. So you might want to invite them to complete the MBTI. Remember, it is voluntary, so they shouldn't have any pressure put on them, but if they're interested, then we could certainly arrange that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so there's your planning page,
okay.
Which I'll leave you with. This isn't the end of the journey, however. So this page says, where next? If you found this informative and interesting, there's lots of other places you can go to with MBTI. Because the MBTI is the most popular psychometric in the world, there's a wealth of books and resources that you can find out about MBTI. The OPP website is one good place to start looking.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this introduction to type booklet that has descriptions of all 16 different types. And here I said I was going to give you this report. This report is where I got the scores from your reported type. You'll see that there are actually numbers on here. Now just remember, these numbers don't signify strength.
Okay.
They're just about how clearly that you were sorted when you answered the questions.
Yeah.
So you have those numbers there.
Okay.
There's also a section here on a snapshot of ESTJs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some extra information. So this information is about work style, and you'll see there's some stuff there about leadership, which is what the other objective that you had in coming to the session. Potential pitfalls, suggested development needs. You might want to weave some of those into your action planning. You also have your preferences at work, so E, S, T and J.
Okay.
And also your communication style. And as a leader, it's very important for you to be able to communicate with all different types, not just the ESTJs.
Yeah, of course.
So that'd be really valuable as well.
Brilliant.
And there's this last page is all about the whole type. So ESTJ is not just the sum of E, S, T and J. It actually combines together to make a whole type. Okay. And there's some information there on the whole type of ESTJ.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay, so I'll leave that for you to go away with. Do come back to me if you would like any further information. There's a lot of reading to do, a lot of planning.
Yeah.
And I hope that you found this informative and useful.
It has been. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This concludes our MBTI feedback demonstration. Paul goes away with an understanding of his preferences and what he can do to make good use of what he's learned about himself. Hopefully this has given you a good idea of the type of feedback session you would like to run yourself, ensuring that your respondents really make the most of the insights the MBTI tool has to offer.